Welcome into another edition of That Recap Show, Happy Hour edition. We are live, so anything can happen. But no, we have a ton of stuff we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be reacting to the newest Marvel updates. We're going to be reacting to some of the trailers that were released during the Super Bowl. And you know what? Maybe even a couple of spoiler-free reactions to the newest Ant-Man movie, which Rico and I have both seen. So without further ado, let's start the show.
Poppin' Off presents That Recap Show.
All right, joining with me to break down everything that's happened this week, I guess is the easiest way to put it. It's Johnny Rico.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Are you ready? I mean, you are already ready. You're holding your drink right up. Cheers. Cheers to the weekend. Actually. And by the way, hi DB.
Hello DB.
We need to cheers to something else because
Why?
Because this time next week, I will actually be able to cheers with you in person. Cheers! That's right. This time next week, I will be on the West Coast.
That's right.
Bothering both you and Pete in person.
That's right.
Yeah. I'm bringing the show on the road. Yeah.
And he's bringing that sweet cake over to the West Coast.
I'm not even going to tell you when I'm coming. I'm just going to I'm going to see that your stream is live and I'm going to be like, Pete, let's get in the car. And I'm just going to show up at your window.
Yeah. And because of traffic, I'll be done by the time you get here.
But anyway, yeah. So, next week's release schedule is going to be a little different. Yeah. It's going to be a little different.
Yeah.
I apologize, but it's a much needed R&R, I think. Well, we're gonna try to record recaps.
If anything, I'll be talking about them on my Twitch channel. But the popping off schedule is gonna be a little delayed.
Look, no matter what, I think we will definitely do some sort of live stream. It might not be on Friday. We may have to do a live stream like on a Saturday or a Thursday or something like that, depending on what's going on for the week. But we're definitely going to do something that we can talk to everybody, and you know what? Maybe even Pete will be a part of it, depending on what kind of setup we can figure out, and yeah, or we're all just going to be huddled around your desk.
Yeah. Minus space. Look at this.
Yeah.
Minus space. You could do a just chatting stream.
There we go.
There we go.
And then I'll bring like the mini inflatable pool, and I'll sit in that with the water wings.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, hot tub stream. Yeah,
yeah. I'll do that. You too. Fuck, I'm coming over. I'm staying.
That's what I'm saying. You guys are invited. I told you.
All right, I'll bring my webcam, my extension.
Oh, whoa, Danny.
What? We're gonna need multiple angles. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
I'll bring my cam. You'll have yours, and we'll have
something different now.
How much my name on the floating. Uh,
$1,100.
there you go.
There you go.
You know what? You throw in some V-Bucks for the both of us, and we're good. If I can get a new skin, that'd be great.
Yeah, no, it'd be great.
You know what I'm disappointed with before we get into anything, because we've got a lot to talk about. We really
We do. We got plenty of stuff on the docket.
I'm upset that we didn't get a movie version of Scott and Hope and even Cassie. Like those three would have been a really cool like bundle in the Fortnite shop.
Oh, for Fortnite, yeah.
Yeah. Because they did that. They did it for Thor: Love and Thunder.
Skin, personally.
I mean, that would be incredible. I just
love that.
I feel like
there's one too, though. But yeah.
I feel like okay. So I think maybe the first bundle would be I was gonna say Ant-Man and Kang as like you get a good guy and a bad guy, and when they did Thor, like for Thor: Love and Thunder, you got Lady Thor and Thor. So I'm thinking I was trying to think along the same lines of like probably like 2 or me at most 3, and Cassie kind of just being like a variant type of thing. But I don't think they could not have Wasp. That's the only reason why I wasn't saying Kang at
I would
first.
do Wasp and Kang. I would I don't like cape skins, so that's just my whole thing.
I mean, you can get a variant with it. You just they usually have it
in the comics. Kang doesn't have a cape, so I could also just do without a cape as well. But
yeah, you can have the option to take the cape off, just like with a lot of the other caped heroes in Fortnite.
We'll talk more about Ant-Man later.
Yes.
Yes.
Non-spoilers, so don't worry about it. Like
yes. We'll give our brief thoughts.
Yeah, we are going to be doing a full recap for the movie eventually. Full spoiler recap for the movie, but that is not today. We would never do that.
Or next week.
It's not going to be next week either.
It's not going to be next week either.
I mean, I'm only gone for a week. So, like, we're not talking like we're going to miss a lot. I'm going to be back. I'm gonna be back like just in time for Mandalorian season 3 to start.
Yeah.
Our recaps
too.
Yeah. Well, our
recaps before Last of Us. Dang it. Oh,
yeah,
man.
I know. There was really actually, you know what? Technically, I'm going to be on the flight as soon as like when Last of Us premieres because I'm leaving Sunday.
Watch it on the flight and be tortured.
If they let me, I don't know how updated their features are.
Haunted Mansion. Yeah, imagine they're just like completely up to date all the time.
It's just streaming HBO Max. Like on the flight.
That'd be amazing. Can you imagine the day that planes have like just loading up streaming services?
Well, I mean,
willy nilly. They Hulu for the flight. Like
they have
on the Hulu account or on the Spirit Airlines account. I don't know what airline you fly, but
I'm not doing Spirit. I am doing
Spirit.
The craziest thing is though, I'm super happy because I did get 2 nonstop flights because
that's money.
Yeah, that would have
afraid of layovers.
I'm not like the last time I actually went out. I do not travel very often. I'm actually super like anxious about this because I do not fly very often. Like I have really bad anxiety as it is. Super anxious about flying. I don't do it very often. I'm sure if I did it more often, like it would be like a normal thing, but I don't. So like I'm super nervous about this. So anybody who wants to distract me, like send me nice messages.
Flight, right?
It's about 6 hours and 20 something minutes.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I've flown to New York before, and I feel like it was only like 5. But
well, they have those. I don't know why. Sometimes it's a little bit faster. I think it has something to do with the wind. If you're flying into the wind, or if you're flying with the wind,
you get one of those you're going against the wind type of flights.
Well, I think I think maybe they look at the 2 times and they take the average of what it would take if you were going with the wind and if you were going against the wind, and they put that time, and then they're like, surprise, we're here 20 minutes earlier, like, or hey, sorry, we got delayed more because there was strong wind. Like, I think that's what they do.
Okay.
Because they can't really, accurately measure it 2 weeks in advance, like type of thing. Yeah. But yeah, I am super anxious about flying. So anyone wants to send me nice messages for the next day or 2 before I actually go to the airport, because I'm going to be like this at the airport.
Yeah.
So not only that, but I do look like somebody.
I can recommend you movies not to watch.
Oh yeah, no.
Okay.
I've signed into my iPad with every single one of my streaming services that let me download something and keep it on there.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got like all of I have like a season and a half of Parks and Rec on my Peacock app. Grind. Um, I have. What else did I get? I got something on Netflix and I can't remember what it is now. I think I got Spider-Man 1 because I remember I told you I was watching it the other day in the gym.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So I downloaded the whole thing on the Netflix app, just so I can, like, if I feel like watching it, I'll pick it up where I was, type of thing.
Mhm.
Because Netflix lets you do it too. I don't know how much it lets you do, so I only went with one movie. I might do like a season of New Girl, just because I need distractions, so I need comedy. I don't want anything
Okay.
like
I was
I don't
gonna
want
say,
anything.
have you started Invincible on Amazon?
Yeah, I watched the whole season.
Oh, you watched the whole season? I wanted to
Yeah.
start that, and I haven't watched it yet, and I keep
Oh,
hearing good
you
things.
haven't watched it yet?
Yeah, I want to watch that one. I need to do it. I read the comic, so I know how the story is, but the animation style kind of was like daunting to me at first. Like I was like, oh, I don't really know if I like this weird like the 2D style sometimes for
Uh,
a certain comic. I would really loved a live action version of that show actually. But everyone kept saying how amazing it was, and I always saw little clips, and I was like, okay, maybe I'll give it just a shot. But it's a great story. I know it's a great story.
yeah. I really enjoyed it. I went into it, not knowing anything about the graphic novels.
Mhm. Harper Kirkman, Walking Dead.
Right, right, right. I really liked it. I mean, maybe when you finish the season, we can do a retro recap type of thing.
Have not watched it, DB. Is that You People? The new Jonah Hill comedy with Eddie Murphy?
Oh, you know what? I did kind of want to watch that. I kept seeing it come up in like the new on Amazon feed.
Yeah.
Maybe I will download that too.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems
Yeah.
interesting enough. It's hilarious. All right, I might have to check it out. I have to check it out.
I'm gonna be stuck on in a chair for about 6.5 hours. So
Yeah, for real.
might
Yeah,
as well
download it.
load
There you
that
go.
up.
You got
Yeah,
your movie. Okay, so last week was the Super Bowl.
it was.
And well, Sunday was the Super Bowl, so like not even a full week, but um we had like this kind of like rumor list of trailers we were gonna get for the most part with Chew. I think we were expecting like one for like the Marvels that didn't come out, or some other one. I'm not sure what other trailers people were expecting to come out during the Super Bowl, but we got two pretty solid ones here to start off, right? I would say.
Yeah.
I don't know what one you want to talk about first, but I think we should talk about the Guardians one first.
All right.
Personally,
I mean,
mostly because it's something we've seen promotional footage enough of already. I would feel like, but man, I feel like this was kind of the more emotional trailer. Yeah, and all three of them have been emotional to a degree, but um, I feel like the use of the "Since You've Been Gone" song here, and really hammering the fact that hammering in the fact that sorry, enunciation is hard, folks. Uh, the fact that like this is really the last ride with this team, and we don't know if really any of them are going to show up again in the future, like any of these actors or characters. Um, of course, a few could, but we know this is the last hurrah with this team that we've grown to love over the last 9 years now. So hearing the particular the lines that they chose for the trade, like Drax talking about, I'm just really glad to be here with my friends, and
Yep.
and of course every single man, I feel like every single line they choose out of Rocket in this is just kind of gut wrenching to hear, and of course that's I always forget that Bradley Cooper is the voice of him, and he's just like an amazing actor in his own right. Like, so knowing that he's bringing like the level of performance that he is with this character is, I can't wait for this. And we got a really great shot of Adam Warlock flying through,
Yep.
which it kind of reminded me of the Black Adam shot where they're flying through and like the head super zoomed in, but
Yep.
but I thought it was really cool, and some really cool. It looks like a little fight scene between maybe him and Drax, if I'm not mistaken, but there was a weird shot.
Tell, yeah,
There was a weird shot of it looks like Drax fighting, but like his face is super like warped or whatever it is because of like the effects of maybe Warlock's powers, maybe. But yeah, this just looks like it's gonna be an emotional, like gut bomb, basically. Like they're gonna just do boom, cry. Everyone's crying. It's also James Gunn's last hurrah in MCU too, so he's gonna go out with a bang, and I'm very excited.
Yeah, I can't say enough how excited. I mean, I thought this trailer was like a perfect encompassing of everything we're gonna feel for the actual movie. Because this trailer, yes, just like you said, ton of emotion, especially with the song added in, and we saw like flashes of scenes with people like obviously screaming about something and
Oh yeah,
something's happening.
those shots of Star-Lord every single time get me.
Right, right. And then we still had some of the jokes.
Oh,
We
the
you know,
final joke is
yeah, yeah.
amazing.
And I've
Yes.
already so I was going back and forth with my cousin, and I was like, I know it's not gonna happen. I know it's not gonna happen. But how funny would it be if by the end of this movie, Star-Lord and why did I just
Nebula.
forget? Nebula end
Yeah.
up being a thing.
I hope Nebula finds someone.
That's what
Like
I'm
I hope
saying, though.
I someone make that a what if.
No. But what if that was the whole like journey? Like,
Yeah.
what if that was the whole journey, and he finds out, and Star-Lord finds out like all along that
Yeah.
the old Gamora has worn off on both him and Nebula, and so
Mhm.
like together they can remember the old Gamora by being together. And
Right.
like, so I like it. I went on this whole like just like whole thing with my cousin, and he's like, "That's not gonna happen. Put money on it." I was
Right.
like, "I'm not gonna put money on it because I know it's not gonna happen." But at the same time, I just like that I just spent 15 minutes talking about what if this did happen
Mhm.
because it would be hilarious to me.
Yeah.
Because this whole
But
time, like, they
your
didn't like each other.
you chose a really pretty set of black
Yeah.
guys. Yeah, it's so good. It's really good.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's incredible, and yeah, I mean, do I think there's a chance? No. Do I want there to be a chance? Yes.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
that's how I feel about that. Yeah, this movie's gonna absolutely wreck me. I'm gonna be watching, AMC and any of the rumors of when these tickets are gonna come out because obviously I'm gonna see that
Mhm.
immediately, so nothing gets ruined. Because I do think there's gonna be something big. Obviously with us pretty positive that some of these characters are not going to make it out of this movie.
Right.
I don't want any of that to be spoiled. I would like to continue to just be making assumptions. um, but yeah, you want to get to the next trailer that aired during the Super Bowl?
Yeah, but before we do, speaking of tickets, you can buy your tickets for Shazam 2 right now.
Really?
And yeah, so I believe the advanced tickets are now on sale. I saw that. I got the Fandango notification yesterday, I believe.
I feel like that didn't get reported at all because I didn't hear about that.
You know how it is, man. I think it's what they spend on the marketing, in my opinion. But
Mm.
yeah. So if you love the first Shazam movie like I did, buy the tickets to that second movie. I'm gonna see that in the big screen. I think those movies really play well on the big screen, and I'm really looking forward to that. I love Zachary Levi as the character, and the more they're gonna dive into this like magical stuff that we're seeing, I'm all for it. But so man, this was the trailer of the night for me of the Super Bowl, and after seeing this trailer, I fully understand why they are, going forward with this picture after everything that's been going on behind the scenes. But the Flash, the Flash, the Flash, the Flash. Oh my God, this trailer was amazing. Flashpoint is one of my favorite comic books of all time. And even the Flashpoint Paradox animated movie is an amazing take on that story. But to see a live action take on the story that one feels like it's staying very faithful to the Flashpoint formula of like the format of the story, as well as like kind of placing it within like this transition from the DCEU into the DCU. And I was like, wow. And a lot of like the casual kind of internet person would be like, okay, this is DC's Spider-Man No Way Home, but like Flashpoint is the OG. That's the story that really they're following the Flashpoint story, and really like they did this whole thing before even the MCU did stuff like that as well. But
what I was going
go
to say
ahead, Dave.
really quick, I was just going to say is you could actually argue to say that Flashpoint is the very first what if. Like,
Oh, it's
like
well,
because it is a what if.
pretty late, and what if it's so what if it's been out there for, but the idea of like these alternate universe characters and stuff like that is something that ties to Flash within the greater DC universe altogether. So if going back to stories like Crisis on Infinite Earths or whatever it is, like there's multiple stories within DC that kind of cover this kind of topic, and it's something that DC's always done really well with. um but Marvel's just always been in the film world a jump ahead, especially with the multiverse stuff. Um, but really, I feel like DC's kind of nailed that story formula down with the way it handles its characters, the different versions of its characters, which is what makes it really fun. And the way you can incorporate Michael Keaton into this, like holy shit. Uh, just that one reveal of like them being in the cave and then the music cue, and then you just have him come on without that, he had that smirk on his face and everything. And he just goes, and you're like, come on, just say it. Just say the line. He goes, I'm Batman. You're like, yes. I freaking loved it. The shots of Supergirl and bringing back Zod. Like Zod was not something I was expecting to kind of be brought into the storyline at all. I may have heard some rumors about it, but it completely went out of my head until I saw the footage. And so love seeing Michael Shannon back, and the fact that the Flashpoint storyline has its take on Superman, and I feel like using the Supergirl aspect to deviate from that is a good way to kind of be original with it. And boy, like, okay, yeah, no, the Flash is one of my favorite characters of all time. Like, Batman's always going to be up there at the top. Spider-Man's always going to be one of the goats. Like those are the two pinnacles right there of comic books. I feel like Batman and Spider-Man, but the Flash to me is kind of like one of that step down, and but it's not too far. That the second tier, I say, but he's at the top of that second tier. And this has all you need a character like the Flash to reset the universe like this, because it's not as much as it sucks losing a character like Henry Cavill Superman. He is not as essential to resetting the universe going forward as the Flash is. So I feel like that's why despite everything that's been going on, you move forward with a project like this and possibly change the game going forward.
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely agree. Like you were just saying, I mean, one of my I've always, and we've talked about this multiple times. I feel like DC has always had a really good grasp on like the cartoon movies, and I use cartoon loosely there because they feel like
Yeah.
real movies. I'm not saying cartoon
You're not
movies
relying on box office,
right,
essentially.
but they really do well with that. I remember the Flashpoint movie, like the cartoon movie, because that came out before like HBO Max had it, so I had to find it
10 years
online.
ago, yeah.
Yeah, I had to find it online and actually watch it because I was very interested. And Flash hasn't really been a character of mine, like one of the top radar characters for me. So even that and me enjoying it to the level that I did, like, speaks something for like how well that storytelling is in the cartoon.
The
sense.
show, too. You're watching the show,
I am.
and that's the way that show has adapted some of the great storylines of the Flash continuity is also a testament to what the potential of that character is. And if you put that on a bigger scale, this is what you can get. And the fact that there's like early the screening reactions to that, people are saying like this is one of the best superhero movies since The Dark Knight. Like, of course you can take that for what you will, but there's not a lot of movies beforehand that got early screenings that got that kind of reaction. And if you weigh in the shit that Ezra Miller's been going through all this, and seeing them go through, like, this is worth it. They put out a Super Bowl trailer for this. Like, like, not only did they not cancel it, they doubled down and put a Super Bowl trailer out for it, and they said this is our big hit for the summer. So man, I can't wait. I cannot wait for this movie. I cannot wait.
So those were our two. Yeah, I mean, the only thing I didn't get during the Super Bowl, I know you were mentioning that before we mentioned these two trailers that we actually got, was I did want a live action the Marvels, something, a teaser, anything.
Yes.
And the only theory, basically, do we want to actually talk about this now? I mean, we can.
No, perfect timing. No, okay. I love that.
The only theory that kind of both of us had kind of come up with is potentially that, it's something to follow the new Ant-Man movie. And so we would start getting stuff following the release of Ant-Man and Wasp, Quantumania. It's very suspicious that literally the day after this movie has dropped, we now got the first official poster.
Along with a new release date.
Yes, new release date. But not only that, the new rumor is that a trailer is coming within the next week.
Yeah, with a poster usually comes a trailer, and so I'm really hoping to see that. But man, that is a beautiful poster, if I do say so myself. Say what you will about the first Captain Marvel movie. I think there's still a lot of room to have some greatness with that character, and I think Miss Marvel and WandaVision both set up something good going forward for the sequel, especially Miss Marvel with the post-credit scene. But if you go back to the poster real quick, I really love the way that this poster is laid out. Like, of course, you have Carol in the center because she is kind of like the center of the story. She is Captain Marvel, and it's kind of everything's kind of started with her. You have is it Monica Rambeau? It's Monica, right? But so you have her at the top, and she's kind of soaring into this kind of like higher plane of power that she's already been kind of like a higher level agent, but she or I guess I forgot the sword, but she's kind of transcending into this kind of higher echelon of agent slash power power person. And then of course you have Kamala Khan the bottom, and she's kind of looking up to both these women. So that's kind of a great way to kind of portray the story within the poster, in my opinion. And of course, like the colors are just so beautiful, and the city background behind Kamala, like everything about this poster, in my opinion, is just A plus. And I cannot wait to see footage from this and see what the story is going to be about.
Absolutely. The only thing I was going to add I did hear a lot of the same things that you just said when I was talking about, or when I was listening to people kind of review, or at least instant reactions.
Yeah, I wish I could say who I was ripping off right there, but I definitely did repeat some stuff that I heard from other people. But I do love that they pointed that out.
Yeah. The other thing was that
Straw Hat Goofy.
Probably. The other thing is that I heard is that one of the reasons Miss Marvel's at the bottom is not only does she look up to the other two, she looks up to Captain Marvel a lot, but I'm sure she's going to look up to Monica Rambeau in the same sense. But no, she is the most grounded out of all of them.
I love that too.
Type of thing.
I love that.
Family, and I feel like I was about to go into a Fast and Furious trailer. Yeah. I don't know if you had the
I saw that trailer, and in the movie, and I actually loved it. I dare, those are popcorn movies. Those are just a fun time of the movies, and I haven't really caught up with them since like the 6th one, but every single time you're gonna get some weird stunts, and they're gonna amplify it one way or another.
I want somebody to go through the trailer and just do a counter on the side how many times somebody says family. There were so many instances where they said family.
Well, what I was just thinking about is like, how many freaking stars are in this movie now? You just like, oh my gosh, this must be one of the most expensive movies to make, just because of how you have to pay everyone.
But they have such a built-in. It would be like,
That's what it is. So
it'd be like if they were making Endgame again. Of course, they could throw in as many people as they want because they know it's going to make $1 bajillion. Like,
I lean over to my dad at the end of the trailer and I go, "This started with street racing."
they even say that in the trailer.
I know. I just see. That's why I think I can appreciate it. They're self-aware. So, like, at least you know what you're putting. That's what I'm saying. That's what makes me like a movie, is if you know what you're trying to be and you just be that. Like, go ahead and do that. But if you're trying to be something more than what you are, even though they are, but they know that, so it's a weird thing. It's a weird thing.
Think about this though. How crazy is Vin Diesel's life? He's been in all the Guardians movies, Infinity War, the end of Endgame. He's going to be he was in the Guardians holiday special. He's going to be in probably the biggest Guardians of the Galaxy movie, which is going to be Volume 3.
Yeah.
And then he's been in all the Fast and Furious, but he's going to be in like the epic Part 1 and Part 2 to end that franchise, which are probably going to be the two biggest movies of that franchise also.
Yeah, the only person I think that can top him right now is Zoe Saldana, who's in the top movies of all time. I think literally all the top 3. So, like, hey, props to you.
Yeah, I mean, she's an amazing actor anyway.
She is. She's fantastic.
Yeah.
But boy, we got quite a bit of movie news
We do.
over the week. So well, why don't you pick the first story you want to talk about?
You know what? I actually want to talk about this, and it's surprising because you just asked me if I had actually seen the original to this. And what I'm
Ah,
talking about is we got some news about I Am Legend. Apparently,
yeah.
after I don't even when did I Am Legend even premiere? This is
I can look
a
that up, but
long,
I'm gonna guess right now, like 2005, 2006, or so.
long time ago. Let's just say
Yeah,
that
2007. I
long
was
time
close.
ago.
I was close.
So we just got an announcement that we're getting an I Am Legend sequel
Sequel.
starring Will Smith, who was the lead character
Who
who
died?
blew
Spoiler.
up at the end. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Spoiler alert: he died at the end. And Michael B. Jordan.
Yes.
Um,
So
yeah.
thoughts?
No, the thought. I thought you were about to. I thought you
Oh,
were
okay.
about to
Sorry. Yeah.
throw in.
So yeah, we're getting the sequel to this, but this is I put this in here for a reason because I thought this was very interesting that we're getting a sequel to a movie where the main character, spoiler, he sacrificed himself essentially, so that Alice Braga and her son could live, but also that they're doing it based off the alternate ending,
Yep.
which is where, of course, that he kind of like I think if I remember watching it, and he like gets through to them to a degree, right? Like he has like this weird like heart to heart with the like vampire zombie like leader or whatever. Like
He
they
just
have
like
that face
hands.
off of.
Yeah, he like
Yeah, and
hands
then they
the,
like
the zombie back,
yeah,
like
and
his
then
bride or
they
whatever back.
yeah. So apparently it's based off of that. So it's gonna go off of that. So I feel like this is like a Will Smith move. Like if you're gonna do a sequel based off my movie, like I gotta be in it. So we could just do
Yeah.
it based off the alternate ending,
Had
and then
had
we
they
can
not
have
announced that, they
yeah
could have easily said, "Yeah, Will Smith is going to reprise his role," but then they're just going to have flashbacks, and Michael B. Jordan's going to
right
be the main character,
right.
type of thing. But yeah, it's official. They've announced that it's going off the premise of the alternate ending, and so Will Smith is going to be a lead in the movie.
And it's set decades later, they said. But here's the one thing here's nothing that why I put on here because it sounded very interesting to me when they said this is that with I don't know if it's because of the video game or the show, but they did say that this movie was going to be kind of inspired a little bit more by The Last of Us, which I thought was
Right.
really cool. I think maybe they kind of saw the way that we've been talking about it on our recaps how the way the world looks kind of like overgrown with the fungus and stuff like kind of showing how the earth will always kind of win in a sense. No matter what you put on its grounds, the roots are always going to take over and take back the earth. Essentially, is kind of like the way they spin it. And I always think about like you ever see like those pictures on social media where like a street sign is next to like a tree, but the tree keeps growing and then it like swallows the street sign kind of a thing. I think that's kind of like a cool way of thinking about it. Like just thinking about that one way or another, nature is always going to outlast humanity, and I think that's kind of like the way they're kind of feeding into like the aesthetic of the world. And so I really like that little tidbit when I read that.
What I'm really interested in is so if we're going to go off of the premise of the alternate ending,
Mhm.
which is kind of just like, I mean, we were talking about this sometime this week when we were doing one of the recaps. They're going to go off basically the happy ending premise.
Right.
If they're going to go off of that, I'm really confused at what the story could possibly be because it doesn't seem like there's going to be any kind of threat. Because if Will Smith, if his character, who's basically the representation of
Like a neutralizer or whatever he came up with, right? Like it was something he came up with.
well, he came up with that, but like I think the happy ending was that to prove that like they didn't need it type of thing. They
Right.
understood they wanted to live their own society and he needed to understand that. And so that was the understanding. And so he gave her back instead of
Right.
finishing to cure her. I believe that was the ending. But
It's
anyway,
been so long.
yeah.
We were talking about retro recaps.
we,
That'd be a good one.
we gotta keep teasing it and
Yeah.
then
We'll keep teasing it
we'll
until we do it.
deliver. Yeah. No TBD. But no. So if there's kind of this, gentle understanding between like who they were basically saying that Will Smith was the monster all along type of
Right.
thing. If now that there's kind of like this, okay, we're okay. what's the threat going to be? Like, that's what I'm really curious about. Like, what is there even a point to have a movie? Because it kind of seems like, the sides just kind of went, like, we're going to walk our separate ways. We're going to live here. You guys going to live over there. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I kind of,
Yeah.
if you picture the happy ending, like, that's what you kind of think is they kind of like had an understanding. Will Smith went up and met up with the lady and the kid that were going to that camp type of thing. And then, everyone lived in harmony in their different communities.
They're looking to find a colony. It says, I'm reading the alternate ending right now, and it says, like, the next morning after they do it, he realizes he's the monster, like you said. The next morning they go and search for the survivors colony in Vermont or whatever it is. So like you could obviously just build off of that and then kind of do like you said, like a or like we were saying, the Fedra Last of Us kind of angle there, maybe. And maybe they found like a colony run by a government, and then you can kind of do like a bigger inside story there.
Or what if it went an Avatar route, and so the government started to try to kill all of the zombie vampires, and then Will Smith teams up with them.
Yeah. And then the trees help kill them.
Somehow the trees get into it because of The Last of Us.
I think we're turning into the Bad Batch with Gunji now.
You got to meditate into the trees, and then the trees help with the giant spider.
Yes.
Okay, moving on. You pick something.
Moving on.
I've just scared myself.
Okay. So going back to DC, I'm gonna go back to DC here. We got our first look at the, for me, long-awaited sequel to Joker. I want to say this little subtitle correctly. Folie à deux. I want to say Folie à deux. I don't know what the hell this title is, but it's clearly like a French sequel title. But yeah, Lady Gaga first look as Harley Quinn with Joaquin Phoenix, and it looks like they share their first kiss or whatever. Because Harley's got go back there. Yeah, Harley's got a very crazy look in her face, like she's very intrigued by what just happened, and I feel like this is kind of the beginning of their relationship, if I say so myself. Man, the first movie is a straight up mindfuck. For better for worse. But I think it's an amazing character study. Joaquin Phoenix is phenomenal in the role. He was deserving of all the praise he got. And the fact that the sequel is going to be a musical is something I'm very intrigued by, and
that's what's given me cause for pause. Like that's the only part of the whole thing where I'm like, that's it. I like me
a good music. I like La La Land. If it's done right, I like me a good musical. So I'm very intrigued to see how it's going to be done in the comic book world. I think that's kind of the most intriguing part of it, is seeing. I love seeing new genres pop into comic books in movie form. MCU is doing a lot with all of their stuff. Like anything you watch right now, like we're going to talk about Ant-Man a little bit, how that kind of dives into the sci-fi part of it. But everything is kind of like diving into different genres and to not make them more just feel like the same thing over and over, right? So this villain centric story set with an amazing singer like Lady Gaga with the musical format, I'm very intrigued. And Todd Phillips' weird vision. This is the guy that gave us the Hangover movies, and then all of a sudden we're getting Joker from him. So like, whatever his mind wants to give me right now, I'm all for it, because it feels like he's starting to make the movies that he's always wanted to make. And I feel like he'll incorporate the music well. Like, I don't think it's going to be like song and dance, like that kind of musical. But I do. There probably will be some dancing and singing, but I think the way he'll incorporate the music and sing into this is going to be the more haunting part of it, which is going to make it more fascinating, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm cautiously optimistic. I want it to be good, just like I say about everything. But I'm not, and this is going to sound weird because I'm a singer in a band. I'm just not like a big musical guy. So
how many people are?
What?
How many people are?
Yeah, but look, I can appreciate a good musical. Like I don't have anything wrong with that.
I'm curious as to the approach.
Yes, exactly.
I'm like you. I'm cautiously optimistic, exactly. But I think with Gaga as Harley Quinn, I feel like that is like really great casting because of the style of movie that they're doing here. So if you're gonna cast Harley Quinn in a musical, who's better than an actress slash singer right now than Lady Gaga, in my opinion, because I think she nails both perfectly
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I have nothing against the casting. I think she's
yeah.
gonna do a great job
I gotta see
as Harley
footage.
Quinn.
Yeah, I
What?
gotta see footage. So that's the whole thing. Like once I see footage, I'll feel way more comfortable.
Yeah. Yeah. I
And
like I
also
said.
Elseworlds.
Um, what do you want to go to next? I guess I'll let you do the other one that you're super excited about. So we'll just mention this other one really quick.
Yeah. Perfect.
We just got an announcement of a potential. I guess at this point it's in the works, so it's not potential anymore.
Yeah.
A Hellboy reboot is in the works, and they're actually looking to cast a younger actor this time around, and
Right.
hopefully, I guess maybe build multiple movies out of it instead of just
For sure.
they're kind of aging out of the character before they can really do too many follow-ups to it type of thing.
Yeah, and possibly not doom a younger actor if it doesn't succeed, I would imagine. But um yeah, I I'm a big Hellboy fan. The R you know the BRPD comics from the Hellboy stuff is really good, but they've always gone like the older route, right? Like we had David
Right.
Harbour from Stranger Things, we had Ron Perlman, and seeing this, they said they want to cast somebody in their 20s to 30s, so which I feel like is a great move for the character. Maybe a Hellboy that's just kind of freshly shaved off his horns and kind of found himself as like his own man, and kind of before we formed the bureau that we later learned to love, right?
Yeah.
So, Guillermo del Toro kind of set up an amazing world with this character to begin with those first two movies, but I feel like there's still a lot of room for uh, a lot of fun with this character and these different creatures, and I almost feel like it's a character that would have fit better in TV.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I think it was very ahead of its time. Like I feel like if Hellboy like with
Ooh,
this, like I feel like if Hellboy came out in the next couple of years or even the last couple of years, it would have been like a project that maybe could have been, a big budget show like on an HBO Max or something like that. Or it could have been a series of movies, but I think
yeah,
when it came out, we were kind of at this really early stage of taking comic book stuff. I mean, there's always been comic book movies out there, but to where it became like so big in like the public consciousness, I feel like it was kind of ahead of its time in that thing. So
hmm
it was successful, but I think it would be way more successful had it started in the last like 5 years type of thing.
yeah, absolutely.
So, because I mean, they're good, but they're just, I mean, yeah, they
They're fun movies, man. And
yeah,
Doug Jones playing any kind of creature, like I think he's one of the better kind of practical effects creature actors out there. I mean, he's been in a lot of Guillermo del Toro stuff. He was the Pan's Labyrinth thing, and of course Abraham from
Shape of
Hellboy.
Water and Shape
Yeah,
of Water.
yeah, Shape of Water, all of that. Like he's just phenomenal. So I would like to see more things where he can play some fun stuff too. Like I loved Guillermo del Toro's take on the Hellboy character, and I kind of wish we could have got more of that for sure.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, but yeah, okay. So our final kind of like movie news story here is so one of my favorite trilogies, not just animated movies, but favorite trilogies of all time is How to Train Your Dragon. And boy, I was ecstatic to learn that the original director of the anime movie, I don't know if he did all three. I think he did all three. But he will be doing a live action version of How to Train Your Dragon, and the casting process has already kind of started. The movie is coming out in 2025, and man, I can't wait for this. The music score from this alone is phenomenal. And it's funny when Spider-Man No Way Home came out, and a lot of people were doing the TikToks of the Spider-Man swinging together for the first time. They were using the music from How to Train Your Dragon. Like that's how great that music is. If I remember correctly, it's the first time that he flies with um with oh
two
my god,
swords,
I'm forgetting. What? Toothless. Yes, Toothless. I will say Buckbeak because of Harry Potter. Because I've been watching people play Hogwarts Legacy, and I'm like, Buckbeak? No, that's the bird. But no, yeah, Toothless. Yeah, but the Adventures of Hiccup and Toothless are, man, it's such a great story from beginning to end. Um, and I really hope they can do this story justice in live action because um you and I both Black Cat owners at one point, but that's what Toothless reminds me of is the Black Cat always, and that's what makes me love him so much, and that whole energy. But I really hope they can actually find a dragon design for live action that will uh kind of bring that same energy that those two brought in the animated movie, because that is some of the most heartwarming stuff I've ever seen in the movie, and it's fantastic. And right there, DB's showing it right there, the little toothless emotes right there. But I don't know if you put him, if you put him putting the Spawn remake earlier.
I did.
Yeah, I want to see that too. I want Todd McFarlane's Spawn remake ASAP. He's been teasing it for years.
Yeah. Yeah, that's another movie that I feel like we always hear a rumor that it's gonna happen, type of thing. But
But are you a How to Train Your Dragon fan?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't. Did I watch the last one?
I'm trying to think if I saw the third one or not, and I think I've had it on my queue, and maybe I started it, but I didn't finish it. Like,
you know what? That's another thing that might be good for my cross country trip. Like I might download all 3 of those just to have them available.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
Great cast too. Like great cast of voice actors, Jay Baruchel, Jonah Hill's in them, Craig Ferguson, Gerard Butler. A lot of great actors in that.
Yeah. So.
Okay. Spoiler free.
We're gonna say it over and over again. Wait.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, no, I know another that Hiccup has one leg. Spoiler for the first one. Yeah, no, that's a great trilogy set in a great timeline period.
Spoiler free. If we had somebody that would animate stuff like as we did it, it would say spoiler free right in between.
Spoiler free.
So both of us have seen Ant-Man already. I saw it last night and had to immediately shut my mouth because I was afraid I was going to say something. Luckily, I was able to talk to Pete.
Yep. I almost reached through my screen and slapped Danny in the face.
Well, I immediately said I wasn't going to say anything. And then
almost did it.
Well, yeah, because you kept going, well, usually the second post-credit scene doesn't mean anything.
Wow, I don't sound like that.
That's how I read it.
Yeah, I know.
There we go. Spoiler-free content coming. Actually, I should just leave that up for while we're doing this. Just so that everybody knows we're talking about Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. Look.
Go ahead. Start, Danny.
There has been such bad industry criticism about this movie. Critic criticism about
the RT score is not friendly.
It's like half of what
it's rotten. It's the second rotten movie. If we're gonna put it straightforward, it's the second rotten movie they put out next to Eternals officially. But the audience score at the first day is 84%, which is great. Yeah. So
and even
it just kind of goes to show that even though the critics and fans don't agree, that there's always going to be this kind of weird fine line, you know?
Yeah, and even some of the creators. I mean, you mentioned Straw Hat Goofy before we were talking about something else, but even he said like he feels like it may end up getting to about 90 type of thing, like for an audience score, because it's just weighing off of some of those people that haven't seen it, and there are some people that are complaining about it and stuff.
Yeah.
But some of the bigger creators that we both follow have nothing but good things to say about it. I mean, and they do add some stuff in here and there, but like just so that they feel like they're giving a fair shake of it, because obviously it's not a perfect movie.
I would say that they give fair reviews. I wouldn't say that they're overwhelmingly positive on those people that I follow, but the stuff that they say is fair. After I've seen it, I would say it's fair, but it's not like they're trashing the movie. It's stuff that I would agree with it, but they also acknowledge. I like when reviewers acknowledge both things. So if you just want to talk all good things or all bad things, that's one thing. But if you can acknowledge both things together, I think that it makes for a well balanced review. And
what doesn't
that's the stuff that I like personally.
Yeah, what doesn't make sense to me is that the critic score right now. I mean, I don't know if another batch of critics are gonna go in and change the score. It's lower than Thor: Love and Thunder. Is there anyone in their right mind that can walk out? I mean, we're not going to say it, but is there any way you could walk out of the movie theater after seeing Quantumania and say that that was a worse movie than Thor: Love and Thunder?
Yeah, it's tough. Because I always judge things on our own merit, but I feel like the casual fan it's tough to judge the Marvel stuff. Because of course you're always comparing it to the last thing you saw, right? But I think it's also shows like when you put like this level of marking on a movie indicating certain stakes. We'll talk about more in our recap, but
Right.
The way they were kind of hyping this one up compared to Love and Thunder, I would say, is probably why some people's expectations were so up here and then might end up here. The one thing I always say about Rotten Tomatoes is that it's an aggregator, right? It's not the score is not an indicator of the movie's quality. It's an indicator of how many people you asked and how many people liked it, right?
Mhm.
So, we got the basically I'll round up and I'll say we got a 50% critic score on this. I think right now it's like 48, 49. But
Yeah.
so that means out of 10 people that you asked, 5 people liked it. And so that I think if you listen to those 5 people on each side and you listen to their criticisms, you never know if like that that 3.0 score or the 2.8, like that the way that balances from a 2.9 to a 3.0. So that person that consider it rotten could be this close to considering liking it. But for the little reasons that we won't talk about here, those could be the little things that kind of drew it off that one little point. So that's the one thing that people got to take into account with these scores is that like people like to make dramatic headlines off of the score because they want to root for good or bad, right?
Right.
We have to remember that at the end of the day, art is art. Your opinion on it is your own opinion, and you're not wrong for your opinion. So if you like the movie and the masses say that it's not good, that you're not wrong.
Oh yeah,
So,
and I
yeah,
mean to an extent, I mean not to an extent, I 100% agree with you. My point is, I don't, I for what Thor: Love and Thunder was, I
mhm,
enjoyed it. I didn't think it was a bad like the
yeah,
experience I had to go watch it.
I
Like
love
now,
aspects of it.
yeah, am I gonna go back and watch it again at home? Probably not. Like, I mean, we did our Phase 4 recaps, and you saw how low I had it. Believe it was like it was either at the bottom or one up from the bottom.
Yeah,
But this is a movie that I really feel like I'm going to want to watch again. Like I enjoyed it enough where I told you I really do want to go back and I almost want to go see it in the theater again. But you know me, I don't like to go see movies alone.
yeah.
Uh, but yeah, I mean this is just like I mean now is it as good as Ant-Man 1? No. And that to me is because we were talking about this before. We actually had to stop ourselves from talking about this
Yeah,
before. Um
would have been late.
yeah, we were going in a long back and forth. All good things. You were saying stuff that you liked about it. I was saying stuff that I liked about it, stuff like that. Um but I think it kind of falls into the same thing as Guardians 1 and Guardians 2 for me. Where like if we're going on a scale of 100, if I put Guardians 1 at 100, Guardians 2, there's no way Guardians 2 can be 100 because it uses some of the same elements that were surprisingly good like the first time and they're a little bit stale the second time. Was it a bad movie? No, so good. For me, Ant-Man 1 was the Ant-Man movie that I really like surprised me. I didn't really know the character. I didn't know how Paul Rudd was going to play the character. And I thought, after seeing it, I was like, that was perfect. Like that, I
Yeah.
loved it, stuff like that. Do I think, he's a different character in this movie? No. And that's why in my scale of things, I actually put this in the second cat like I Ant-Man 1, Quantumania, and then
Yeah.
Ant-Man and Wasp type of thing.
Close second for me.
Yeah. Um, Yeah, and I do. I was trying to think in the list of Phase 4 movies. Like obviously, I know it's Phase 5, but in the just in that list of
Yeah.
Phase 4 movies, where I'd put it, and I really can't decide. But I will say it's very close to top 10 type of thing. Like if it's not top 10, it's 11 or 12. Like it's I unless I had the entire list out again, and it makes it really hard with TV shows and movies and stuff
We
like
gotta do
that.
an episode like that someday. It'll be a long one, but it'll be a good one.
Anyway, yeah. Do you have any more non-spoiler thoughts before we go on to kind of all the MCU announcements and stuff like that?
So yeah, I'll give my initial thoughts here. Jonathan Majors is fucking outstanding as
Yes.
Kang. I'll say that much. The movie does a great job with pacing, I feel like, and kind of gets to the point right away, and does a great job of incorporating all the characters aside from the secondary characters that we all know and love. But it does a great job of incorporating the main characters in a solid way. Um, I feel like it gets a little bit chaotic in the middle, juggling a lot of stuff with the new characters, but I feel like the new characters are great, maybe aside from MODOK. I feel like MODOK is going to be a dividing topic among fans as the movie, as more people see the movie. But I'm very curious to see how people will uh, take in that character, especially because, again, taking in the audience score and the critic score, I'm very curious to see how people take in a character like that specifically. And I like the way it builds off of stuff that's previously established within the MCU. So without getting into too much, I feel like it builds off of if we're talking about Kang, it builds off of Loki very well if you watch Loki. So I'll say that much.
Obviously,
But
we're going to do a spoiler review.
yeah, we will.
but
We'll get
it's
into it
hard.
in a spoiler review. But
I know what you're saying. It's difficult to kind of
yeah,
completely finish your point without accidentally saying something. So you're
yeah,
towing the line just like I was, and that's why I kind of like just
yeah. I think
concentrated
if
on.
you're worried about Kang not being a worthy successor to Thanos, I would say don't worry about that. Yeah, don't worry about that. I feel like they
This
did
was
a
just
good
a
job of setting
taste.
it up. Yeah,
Yeah, this was just a taste of Kang.
yeah,
Like
that's what it was.
we're getting Kang Dynasty, we're getting Secret Wars. Oh
Yeah,
man, like yeah,
but yeah,
Kang
yeah, I had a lot of fun in this movie. The one last thing I will say is that I felt like Peyton Reed, who's directed all three of these movies. He also directed some of The Mandalorian recently, so you can tell his Star Wars influence was heavy on this movie, in my opinion, because this feels more like a Star Wars movie than it does an MCU movie, and I feel like that could be either good or bad depending on how you look at it. But yeah, I had a lot of fun with this movie. It's visually beautiful as
yes.
hell, and let me tell you that much. I can't wait to watch it at home. Um, very influenced. I'll say that much. But yeah, I would say a solid 7 out of 10. Like, go see it. Go see it in the theaters. It's worth the theater trip.
I think 7 out of 10 is fair. I think I was more of like an 8, maybe even a little like 8.5 ish. Probably like 8. I think it's a very solid,
Yeah,
good
I know
movie.
who agree with you for sure.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, we did get a dump of information from Kevin Feige
Yes,
about upcoming Marvel stuff.
yes, this was very cool in my opinion.
Yes.
I can kind of like run through them. We can go one at a time, like just but we'll just kind of go through these like
I
top to
mean,
bottom.
yeah, I there's two that I'm super excited about.
Yes,
And I think you literally put the two back to back
I
that
will.
you know.
So I'll do those, but I'll start with an easy one first because it plays into kind of this year right now because what we got with Ant-Man. But we will be getting two TV shows this year, which will be Loki season 2 and Secret Invasion, which is also kind of plays because he was talking about Daredevil Born Again, which is one of those things. And so they were talking about how this show, he was particularly praising Vincent D'Onofrio and Charlie Cox for their performances as the characters.
Mhm.
No surprise there. We have loved both of them already and can't wait to see more of them. But um, Kevin Feige was talking about how there will be more standalone episodes with this show, which we've been talking about the Bad Batch and filler stuff, but my Daredevil is one of my favorite Marvel comics to read. I have the Frank Miller omnibus and reading those like old school 80s comics that they did that set up the TV show. Um, the great thing about those is that those issues are kind of like these cool little one issue things where you like they're singular stories and they wrap themselves up nicely. So I feel like Daredevil's a really good character to do that with. You know, kind of what we were hoping for from She-Hulk, maybe like you take the lawyer case, bring that into a bigger storyline, introduce more villains that way, and then have Daredevil do. You have Matt Murdock in the courtroom and then Daredevil outside the courtroom, right? You could do that kind of a show with it, and then have Wilson Fisk be the bigger problem outside of it. But on top of that, he did also talk about the fact that they will be slowing down the rate of which the TV shows get released. We were supposed to get basically like 4 shows this year, but they delayed Echo and Ironheart essentially.
Yeah.
So we might not see those until next year, which makes a lot of sense. I got hiccup, but Secret Invasion and Loki season 2 kind of being like major seasons for this year alone to kick off phase 5. I said season 5. Phase 5 of the MCU is, in my opinion, a great move rather than just going like, one big show, one, maybe not so more important show, but kicking off with 2 big ones right away that could play into 2 projects going forward. Because he did say he wants these projects to shine.
Right. And not only that, I mean, I think this might be the year of the movies too. Like we have had years in the past where
your
it was
experiences are back.
Right. But not only that, I'm just saying in general for Marvel, because we have had years in the past where we really only got a couple movie releases.
Mhm.
And so there was room to kind of let a couple extra shows shine, or a special or something like that shine. Whereas this year, I mean, we have Ant-Man right now. Then we have Secret Invasion. Then we have Guardians in May.
Mhm.
Then we have Loki over the summer. Then we have Captain Marvel, or the Marvels, in the fall. Now we were supposed to have in the early summer, but now we have it in the fall.
Right.
And so I think it really does give a little bit of space in between, like each thing. And these, because I mean, all of these are going to be really big. Like I'm going to end up spoiling Ant-Man stuff. I can't keep saying why, but I think Loki season 2 is going to have a huge bearing on season 5 and the movie slate of season 5.
Phase 5.
Phase 5. Season 5.
Yeah.
Season 5.
There's anything I did.
You got me into it.
Season 2 of Loki was hinted at in season 1, so you're not.
Yeah, I'm not spoiling anything. I just think, we're going to be dealing with the multiverse, and I think Loki is the perfect show to do that, because that's kind of how they introduced the real multiverse and how things worked, and He Who Remains and all of that stuff towards the end of it.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think it's a perfect series to do that, and yeah, I'm glad nothing is kind of going to overstep that, like being a movie release, overstepping that. And I mean, we just have a million comic book movies coming out this year. With we got the Flash
year, dude.
Yeah. I mean, it's just going to be a big year for movies in general. So I think it is smart to kind of pull back some stuff and just delay stuff a little bit. I am super excited for Secret Invasion.
Yes, I've been waiting for that for a while.
That's another thing that I was expecting to get, like a tease or something from the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I'm waiting to hear a new date on that, because it's supposed to be like a March or April thing, I feel like.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing that might be replacing like the summer slot.
No, because Loki's in the summer.
Late summer slot.
I guess. Yeah, I mean, they could do that. They could put it in between Loki and the Marvels now.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Anyway, so that's the Daredevil news. Can I do?
You can do whatever you want, dude.
Yeah. All right. So we got another confirmation. I feel like Kevin Feige is just gonna have to keep coming out. Like
confirmed yet again, I said.
Yeah. He's gonna have to come out like every couple months and just be like, "Hey, just so you know, Deadpool is going to be a rated R MCU movie. It's going to be the first rated R MCU movie." It's, I mean, to me,
great.
Yeah, that is just like amazing news.
It's really great because Kevin Feige's history within comic book movies and how he goes back to the OG days of what made these movies so great. Like he worked on
Yeah.
the original Spider-Mans and
He worked on the original X-Men movie.
yeah, exactly. So that's kind of the first one right there. And kind of talked about how Hugh Jackman was the one that kind of, or I don't know if it was him or Feige, one of them fought for Wolverine's original hair to be in
Yeah.
the movies. So I was like, come on, like if you're gonna have somebody in charge, like you gotta have one or either of these guys in here. So um to see this actually kind of come to fruition now, and of course hear him say for however many times he said it that it's gonna be a rated R movie. Uh Man, dude, like to see that this French. Okay, so I've been on TikTok lately, and TikTok loves doing these bracket things right now, movie
I know.
brackets.
I
And
saw
I
it.
posted the MCU one, and every time I see Deadpool on it next to some movie like an MCU movie, it's so hard to pick between them because I consider Deadpool one of the greatest comic book movies ever. And man, I cannot wait to see what the greatest comic book movie franchise ever and one of the greatest comic book movies ever has in store when they kind of combine forces. You know what I mean?
There are so many rumors about this movie already. And I don't know what's confirmed. I don't know what's not confirmed. But like one thing that I've been hearing a lot is it's going to have to do with traveling the multiverse.
Right.
Because that's how they're going to meet up with. But the
And that it
cameo,
won't affect Logan.
right? The cameo rumors are crazy. Like we could see some of the Fox Marvel people meeting. Like that's how obviously we would meet up with that version of Wolverine. But we might see Chris Evans as the Human Torch. Like
The door is open for anything.
I
It's
know.
wild.
But also that it might deal with the TVA, and that's how they'll pull it kind of into the grounded MCU
Mhm.
is by, it's not just like, oh, it's the crazy movie where, Deadpool's using Cable's thing and somehow figured out how to go across dimensions. It's actually going to be grounded in that, and somehow something gets messed up and he meets up with the TVA and then he has to
Right.
correct something with the TVA type of thing. And that's why he's actually able to do this, which would make a ton of sense type of thing. Yeah, I can't wait. I'm really excited about that. And that leads me to the next thing that I'm most excited for.
I was gonna say it's the perfect transition.
I know.
Story.
I know. Next.
Oh, different. Never mind.
Oh, I didn't know where you were going to go. Anyway.
I thought you were going into never mind.
I'm going this way, then you can pull it back and go to the next way.
Okay.
We'll use that as the perfect pivot.
Yeah.
Tom Holland will return for a Spider-Man 4.
Yes.
And they have a story, and it's basically just like it's in development. But it's very exciting to me that they already kind of have a story in the works. Like it's already planning type of thing. So
yeah, they've we've had a couple years now since No Way Home, and now we can kind of figure out where to go with the Spider-Man character from here now because he gets a fresh start, which is pretty great. So now they kind of nailed where they can kind of take the story from here, and now all he said like just need the pen to take the pen to the script, right? So pen to paper. Yeah, I really hope they just take Spider-Man back to the street level roots and bring him back to those level of characters. And I would love to see him interacting with someone like Kamala Khan or something like that, and something in a more not so mainstream storyline level way, like not a multiverse breaking level event. You know what I mean?
If they are really going to do another trilogy, which is what the rumor of what the rumor of the new contract that he signed was, it was for a trilogy plus, I think it was like 2 appearances. I believe it was like a trilogy plus 2 appearances, which would be obviously Secret Wars, something else that we don't
Avengers
know.
and Secret Wars, probably the King Dynasty and Secret Wars,
probably something like that, or a future unnamed product. I mean, we could see him in the Daredevil movie for all we know. Or, I mean, not Daredevil, the Deadpool movie for all we know, and that could be another appearance. But anyway, that's what they were saying is that this could be this is a new trilogy type of thing. So I mean, we could legitimately have him start the trilogy street level again, which is where he is, because that's no one really knows who he is. He doesn't. Stark's not around anymore. The Avengers don't know who he is. Like, you know what I mean? So it could be a a beginning of a trilogy, and by the end of the trilogy, he then becomes like the adult Spider-Man type of thing, and then we introduce Miles Morales at the end of that trilogy. That would be ridiculous in the best way possible if that's what we got. We got a brand new we get to see Tom Holland come into his own as a Spider-Man character, and at the end of that, not a passing the torch, but at the end of that, we get the introduction of Miles Morales in live action.
Yeah, Venom.
What?
And Venom.
Yes. Well, I mean, we've got the symbiote out somewhere. I think
it's somewhere.
Venom has to come into play. The black suit has to come into play. Buyer before
first Secret Wars. Yeah, 100%.
So yeah, that's coming. I'm interested to see. I would like to see a first movie not having to do with Venom first or the symbiote at all, and then like just like you said, having Peter like just seeing how his life is now, type of thing, and him kind of coming into his own as a street level because he's not going to have any tech that he doesn't build himself. He's not going to have a special suit. He's not going to have it.
Right.
We could even get an appearance from Daredevil type of thing. We could get a couple of the street level characters, just like you said. Miss Marvel would be a cool character to have in that movie. Yeah.
Aloha Martin.
What?
I said Aloha to Martin.
Oh, I didn't see the comment until right after you said Aloha Martin. Yeah.
Sorry, continue.
Oh no, that's all I was saying. Now you can get to the other pivot that you thought I was going to go to, but I was way more excited.
I thought this was a more fitting pivot because we were talking about Deadpool and Wolverine, but Kevin Feige has finally given us an update on the MCU X-Men. They said that they have been tapping into one of the biggest pieces of the X-Men's biggest entire publication history for years, and now they know how it's going to be done, how the approach to the X-Men is going to happen. And man, this makes me so freaking excited because you're talking about the big, like, I gotta imagine you're tapping into some Chris Claremont runs here because he's got some pretty notable X-Men runs. I mean, notably Days of Future Past, but we've already seen that done. But I would love to see an MCU version of it. Just saying. But fuck, man, I cannot wait to see what the MCU's version of certain X-Men characters is going to be. There's so much potential. Obviously, we've seen certain takes with kind of multiverse versions of, Evan Peters' Quicksilver kind of being like this weird Pietro variant being kind of the first example. And of course, when we see Wolverine, that'll be another thing. So how they incorporate this universe maybe into the MCU or start from anew. There's so many great characters you can utilize that haven't been utilized in the old movies in the best way or even at all. But man, the sky is really the limit here. Like I honestly don't know how you can approach this. Like, does the school already exist? Are we going to see the beginning of the school? Are we going to meet? There's so much that can happen here.
Yeah, what I was going to say, I think there's two ways they can do it. Or at least, I mean, there's infinite ways they can do it. But the two, I think that for someone who doesn't write screenplays, that's just myself, I see two easy ways that they could do it. One would be spurred off of the Deadpool 3 movie, where, we ultimately, he's obviously going to be visiting different universes.
Obviously, that could be the one that incorporates everything into it, like just blends the timelines in general.
Right. I think that could potentially be dealing with more serious incursions, and then maybe we get him, and he somehow like transports them to Earth, and now it's like, okay, now the Earth has mutants, or at least has famous mutants type of thing. And because I mean, obviously, we already have mutants. We've said Kamala Khan is a mutant. That's gone on record, and we have Namor. That's a mutant. So they exist already, is what I'm saying in the MCU. It's just they're not known. So what I'm saying is maybe the incursion happens, and then there now is a team of mutants, like 20, 30 of them, whatever. And that's
what do you make your central character? I think just my question is, like, do you make it Wolverine again? Do Do you make it somebody else? Um,
It's hard because I mean the whole way that the MCU started was with Iron Man, which wasn't a super popular character. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like, do they go fundamentally how they built the MCU and go with not one of the biggest like core people,
Yeah.
or do they go with like a big crowd pleaser and they go with Wolverine and that's what they build everything around, or Xavier and that's what they build everything around? I don't know. I really
Right.
don't know. I don't think there's a wrong answer. I just
No.
think it has to obviously be planned out well. But anyway, my other thought is that because we know for sure we're getting Secret Wars. I could see everything getting reset after Secret Wars. And then, just like you said, stuff has been there all along because things got reset. And the characters that we've known and loved realize things are different. Like our Doctor Strange knows things are different. Our Peter Parker knows things are different. So like they're experiencing it like the audience of the MCU that has watched the MCU all of this time. And and just like us, they're going, these people didn't exist before. This school didn't exist before.
Right.
These people, like, like all of this stuff didn't exist. And they're the only people that like remember or realize that these things didn't exist. Just like the people that have been watching the MCU since the very beginning and we had no mutants involved in anything will sit there and go, yeah, none of this existed before.
Right.
But the new people that start watching the MCU post go, oh yeah, there was always been mutants in the MCU. You know what I mean? So like,
Right.
I could see that being like one of those things because it would be cool on two different levels. We would have the OG characters from the MCU that would be just like the audience, the original audience going, yeah, these people weren't here. This is crazy that now, there's differences like almost like the end of season 1 of Loki, where everything's changed and Loki's the only one who realizes that things are changed.
Right.
Type of thing. I just think that would be cool on different levels. And I could see that kind of happening, but it really just depends on also where they want to actually introduce them in the timeline of the phases, basically. If they want to wait until phase 7, then yeah, that would work, where everything gets kind of rewritten and then they've just been rewritten into existing all the time. If they want them to exist before Secret Wars, then they would have to, write it in through Deadpool or some other incursion route. So
Awesome. All right. So for Captain America 4, we're gonna have a new president of the United States, and that is Harrison Ford.
Well, he's already been president of the United States. Get off my plane.
I mean, Harrison Ford has, yes, he's been the president before.
It's Air Force One, yeah.
Yeah. No, thank you. Yeah, thank you, Danny. But Thunderbolt Ross will be the president of the United States within the MCU, Danny. But man, so talking about transitioning from one great actor to another, of course, the late William Hurt no longer obviously can reprise the role. So this casting choice right here to kind of give a lease on life for the character of Thunderbolt Ross, I would say Harrison Ford is kind of the perfect thing you can do for the for casting wise. And I don't know if he's going to turn to Red Hulk in this one. I imagine they'll say that for Thunderbolts maybe, but establishing him as the president of the United States in a Anthony Mackie Captain America world, I feel like leads to a very great story content. I feel like obviously Harrison has he's no stranger to playing a great president. That you talk about Air Force One. Get off my plane. Yeah, he's no stranger to a role like this, so you can bring that kind of gravitas and kind of vibe to that role. And after that great speech from the Falcon and Falcon and Winter Soldier, but after he finally turned into Cap, I'm very excited to see these two characters clash together. I feel like you kind of did all you could do with William Hurt as that character, without bringing back Liv Tyler. Like, I don't know how you don't bring back Liv Tyler as Betty Ross for the Hulk. Maybe it's the right thing, but I don't know. But I like the way they've been able to incorporate Thunderbolt Ross into the MCU thus far through Civil War, Infinity War, Endgame, whatever it is. But now kind of getting to see the character to kind of be what he's supposed to be is, I feel like, going to be one of the more intriguing parts of it for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I like Harrison Ford in everything. I mean, not that I didn't like William Hurt as the character.
Right.
I have faith that Harrison Ford, he was selected for a reason, and he's going
Yeah.
to do a good job at it.
Yep, the name value.
Yeah, and I'm really excited because I think this will play a lot into Thunderbolts, and we're gonna see, how the government is going to have a different agenda than Captain America, basically. And we were already starting to get into that with the you said it already. The Falcon and Winter Soldier series was already about that. They chose their own Captain America, and whereas really Sam was supposed to be the successor from Steve Rogers. Like Steve wanted him to be that from the very beginning. So we're now kind of going to see the government, obviously, not only wants their own Captain America, but wants their own Avengers. And that's what the Thunderbolts are really going to turn into, type of thing. And so I think this movie is going to be really cool in the sense of we're going to see the origin of, the Thunderbolts team kind of start. And we're going to see like kind of that agenda kind of be in the background when we have like this main story of, the leader and all that kind of stuff happening also. So yeah. I just think there's a lot of potential, and I am really excited.
For sure. Absolutely.
Yeah, we are out of notes.
We did it.
We did it. Cheers one last time. Cheers to the weekend. But also cheers to like what I said. This time next week, I will be on the West Coast.
You guys will be here at my place. Tell Pete.
Yeah, Martin's watching right now. Hey, Martin, just take that hop, skip, jump.
Yeah.
Jump over the Pacific, and just meet me, Pete, and Rico in California.
Oh, this is Danny. This is you.
Yeah, and Pete will be somewhere like he was
just
there.
Pay that money. Heck your kids and family.
It'll be worth it later. But anyway, have a great weekend. If you haven't already planned to see it yet, go see Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. It's great. No matter what, heck the critics. No matter what, it's the audience score that we
form your own opinion, my friends.
Yeah, to the weekend. But as we always say, that's what we think. Let us know in the comments below. What are you most excited for all of the upcoming, movie slate? Not just the MCU slate, but the movie slate that we're getting for the rest of this year. I mean, this year just started, but there's so many good projects, both movies and TV series that are coming out that are just going to be great. We're going to be trying to recap everything and anything that we can, even retro recaps as we do them. And as always, don't forget, like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to hear about all of our audio and video podcast releases. Bye, everybody!
Poppin' Off presents That Recap Show.